In Philadelphia today, where PennDOT was getting its plows and salt trucks ready for the biggest snowstorm of the season so far, and it's not even winter yet. Dave Roberts and AccuWeather have been tracking the storm from its origins in Texas, but David, it's now bearing down on us.
Getting closer and closer. Right you are, Jim. We have some very light snow flurry activity here on City Line Avenue. You may be getting a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on your location. Action radar shows you the system is going to be a long-lasting and complicated storm. As it came out of Texas through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, you can see the huge moisture building there. Over us shows some moisture. Little or anything is just reaching the ground at this hour. So it'll be light stuff overnight. Let's check it out and see what AccuWeather's call is. There's the latest picture from Action Radar. For rush hour in the morning, we're talking about 1 to 2 inches, a cover of snow, sleet, and freezing rain. So rush hour in the morning will be very, very slippery. And then we'll break it down here. If you live in the northern and western suburbs, you can expect snow 6 inches or plus, depending on the movement of the storm. The city, we're talking about a combination of snow and ice, 3 to 6 inches. In New Jersey and Delaware, combination of snow, mostly rain, 3 inches, or maybe even just a coating down there. Now, tomorrow afternoon and evening, this changes back to more snow, a little ice and rain mixed in. So we have to go through a difficult rush hour come tomorrow morning, a difficult rush hour going home tomorrow night, and then possibly Wednesday morning dealing with another difficult rush hour. So this is one of those stay-tuned storms, long-lasting and complicated. We'll stay right on top of it for you. That's the latest from AccuWeather. Jim?
Thank you, David. Let's switch live to Action News reporter David Murphy on Ridge Avenue in Roxborough. And David, are we seeing that typical pre-storm rush on the supermarkets?
Oh, yes, Jim. Parking lots across the area, including here in Roxborough, very crowded at this hour as people driving home from work noticing these flurries falling down around their car and remembering all that stuff they've got to get done before the real snow comes. All day, there's been a crowd at supermarkets like this Superfresh in Roxborough, many of them here for the same reason.
I only come in for a couple things because it's supposed to snow tonight.
You bet I won't get out after that. Have to have that much snow.
Sure am, and holiday shopping.
Ah, so you've got a full slate there.
I sure do. Expect my cart to be piled real high.
The post office was a popular spot, too, like here in Narberth, where people were rushing their Christmas mail in before the snow. Although some people let a courier like Jeff Wells do the rushing.
Did anybody pile on some extra mail today, you think?
Oh, God, of course. Look at all these. My God.
And then it was on to the essential purchases.
5 cases.
Stan Marcinick made sure to stock up on beer today for fear of having trouble getting out again before his holiday entertaining begins.
I don't drink the stuff, but you have to have it, don't we?
I guess so, Stan. Live we go to Hunting Park. PennDOT salt piling trucks at the ready. City trucks ready as well. In Philadelphia, a snow emergency has been declared beginning at 6 in the morning. That means no parking on snow emergency routes. Violators get a $35 ticket and a $50 towing fee. Back here in Roxborough, no icy roads to do battle with yet, Jim. Just flurries and lots of shoppers. David Murphy live with the Action Cam, Roxborough.
Thank you, David. And be advised, Action News will continue its storm coverage during the halftime report during tonight's Monday Night Football game. Then we'll have a comprehensive report, including the latest from AccuWeather, on Action News after the game. And Action News will begin a half hour earlier than usual tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. so we can give you the latest weather and travel developments in the tri-state area. It could be a messy and treacherous rush hour, so join us, please, on Action News at 5 a.m. In other news tonight,
anywhere else. This is Weather Scope this afternoon. We have heavy rains in the southeast this evening, plus a wintry mix in parts of the Ohio Valley. But the northeast should brace for some winter-like conditions on Tuesday, tomorrow night, and Wednesday. Maybe a foot of snow in New York City and maybe a white Christmas. Hello, I'm Gene Rubin.
And I'm Declan Cannon. We'll also look into the west as well as across the Atlantic. The fog has finally lifted a bit in Bosnia. But our top story is the heavy rain in the southeast. One location hit by heavy rain, Shreveport, Louisiana. In fact, yesterday, the parking lots of area shopping centers were filled with people huddled under umbrellas. The rains continued today. There were some heavy thunderstorms around sunrise this morning, and you can expect the rain to end later on tonight. Temperatures dropping into the mid to upper 40s. Farther west in the Dallas-Fort Worth vicinity, Texans are advised to keep the umbrellas handy through this evening. Some showers are still possible, although most of the rain has now moved northeast of town. And a little bit of a race going on tonight over North Texas between cold air and moisture. What does that mean? Well, it means that eventually there could be a few flurries or some light snow over parts of northern Texas. Whether or not it would get into Dallas, and most likely if it does, probably not very significant. At least that's the way it looks. There goes the rain heading north of Sherman. It's a little bit of light snow now as we head up towards Childress in northwestern Texas. And we mentioned a lot of the moisture is now leaving, but the colder air is coming in. The winds are out of the northwest. The temperature and the dew point continues to fall throughout all of northern Texas. Maybe just enough moisture left over, a little bit of an upper disturbance, and have a few flurries or some light snow, but we don't think it would be significant as far south as Dallas. Significant snow, though, as you head into western Oklahoma, through parts of Kansas tonight, and extending north into Missouri. Check out those radar echoes in Alabama coming south of Birmingham. Very intense thunderstorms. We had 4 to 8 inches of rain reported today in southeast Mississippi, likewise in parts of southwest Alabama. And on the big view, you can see the biggest concentration of excessive rain is here, ahead of the low pressure and ahead of the cold front, where the winds are coming in strongly from the south and transporting all that Gulf of Mexico moisture. To the north today, we've had persistent freezing drizzle and freezing rain and snow in northern Ohio, with some accumulation of some ice. And now that is streaking off towards the east. It's helping to saturate at least what was once some dry air over Pennsylvania and heading south towards D.C. Baltimore, right in the 33, 34 degree range. But as you head north to Harrisburg, just a bit colder. So we'll be keeping our eye on that situation as that storm moves farther north. But along the Gulf Coast, we mentioned the big story has been the exceptionally heavy rain. 8 inches fell in Baton Rouge. There's a new complex of storms that looks a little interesting here. This area actually appears to be expanding. Sometimes when that happens, the southernmost one will grow at the expense of the northern one. So we'll have to see if that happens. It could mean some very heavy rain could get into the Florida Panhandle during the next 6 hours. The wedge of colder air east of the mountains in typical fashion all the way down to south central Georgia, but we think that'll be edging north as we go into the nighttime hours. And you also notice as we head along that front, more showers and thunderstorms. Bit of snow, bit of freezing rain, very light precipitation. That will be changing though, and we'll have more with your forecast in a moment.
Thank you, Declan. And while parts of the east are going through winter-like conditions, sections of the west are seeing some pre-winter snowfall as well. Light snow fell across northern New Mexico this morning, and while motorists weren't too thrilled about it, the skiers just loved it. Snowfall has been very sparse so far this winter in the New Mexico area, and local ski resorts have suffered, but this snow was good news. Looks like it's going to be dry for a while, however. As we show you a local radar from the New Mexico, Texas area, you can see there's no echoes at all. There are no echoes at all here showing up in New Mexico. Everything now moving even out of the Texas-Oklahoma panhandle with heavier snow earlier today has now basically moved off into central and eastern Oklahoma. Heavy snow falling around Oklahoma City, moving up to Tulsa at this time. As we move to the west, it's quiet in the west. Declan shows you how active it was in the eastern half of the country, but look at in the west, very quiet. Nothing going on over parts of Utah, Nevada, Southern California for the most part, into Arizona. But a little bit of a upper air disturbance. You can sort of see the swirl here going on, a little pressure area. And it's producing some light rain showers, Sacramento down towards around Fresno up to the Yosemite area. But it is sort of light and inconsequential. and I guess that's good news. Another quiet evening in the northwest, just some very light rain showers now showing signs of dissipating as they move off to the east. Salem up to around Yakima and Quileute reporting some light rain, but nothing like the big storms of the last couple of weeks. There is a big storm, though, off the west coast in the Pacific, but most of the energy from this will be diverted up into Canada. But there will be some light rains, and I emphasize the word light, in the next couple of days, coastal areas of Oregon and Washington. This little swirl in the clouds now centered around San Francisco will move slowly down into Mexico, and that could produce some mixture of freezing rain or light snow or sleet, whatever, back into the Gulf Coast states, and we'll show you that in your forecast coming up in just a moment. The weather map in the west is quite quiet. A little bit of fog showing up in north-central parts of Wyoming and south-central Montana. And again, just some snows, some light snows for the most part, the Cascades of Washington State, and those light rains in California associated with an area of low pressure. Conditions cool to mild for the most part. Seattle rather cool at 44 degrees, but mild. Los Angeles and San Diego showing up at 62 this hour.
Turning to international events, dense fog for the last few days delayed U.S. forces from landing at Tuzla in Bosnia, but weather conditions improved somewhat today. The thick fog cleared enough for 7 C-130s to land at Tuzla Air Base and swiftly unload equipment and soldiers. On Sunday, poor visibility forced the U.S. Air Force to cancel 57 flights. NATO diverted some flights carrying equipment and personnel to Sarajevo. Here's a look at the satellite view over the Adriatic, and right towards the center of your screen we have Bosnia, and you'll notice heading towards the southwest out into the Adriatic. Lots of clouds here, a bit of a storm. It's going to push through the Adriatic, but watch the clouds coming in past Corsica and down to Palermo. Quick shot, northwest wind, so there's kind of a trough of low pressure here over the region. That's what's keeping us in the clouds and the soup, the thick fog, and occasionally precipitation. Looks like it may linger into the next couple of days, but some improvement as we showed you and talked about. Looks like though more clouds in the forecast at least through Wednesday.
Speaking of the forecast, let's check out what's going on back in the United States right now. We have a strong area of low pressure moving to the northeast into the Ohio Valley in the next, let's say, 12 hours or so. But we also have lots of warm ocean water, of course, the Gulf Stream, and warmer water off the east coast. And what's going to happen, we're going to have a coastal storm evolving on Tuesday. The energy from the strong low moving into the Ohio Valley will sort of transfer itself to a coastal low developing off the coastal areas of Maryland and Delaware area here as cold high pressure moves down into the northeast. This is what the weather map will look like on Tuesday, and this is what it means for the eastern part of the country. South of the Washington, D.C. area, Baltimore area, it will be all rain, a cold rain, but it will be rain. Even some milder rains, tropical air feeds into parts of the Carolinas and Georgia. Further north, though, we get a mixture of sleet and freezing rain. Further north than that, we get heavy snow, and if you move up to around Boston, light snow will be increasing late in the day to heavy snow by tomorrow night at this time. Pick out the city you're living in, the city you may be traveling to. This is what we can expect for Tuesday. New York City, heavy snow, possibly becoming mixed with freezing rain and sleet later. And that's just Tuesday. Tuesday night and Wednesday, the snow will continue to pile up in New York City. Snow will become heavier tomorrow night into early Wednesday in Boston, but Washington, just a light mix changing to rain by tomorrow morning. So Washington, no real problem as far as traveling. But New York, Boston, you can get a foot of snow before it's all over. So White Christmas might be in your stars, as they say. Here's the low pressure area tomorrow morning. Still nothing going on along the East Coast itself, but light snows move into New York City, Detroit, Chicago, maybe several inches there before it's all said and done. Heavier snow, central Illinois, up towards Indianapolis, maybe, let's say, Cleveland, Ohio, as the low pressure area moves off to the east and northeast rather slowly. Here's that low pressure area developing around Washington, Baltimore. Heavier snows to the north of it, spreading into Boston by this time tomorrow night. Dry over the central part of the country as a weak area of low pressure brings some light rains into the Pacific Northwest. Heaviest amounts of rain, you can see where they'll occur, along with the heaviest amounts of snow from around Kansas City up to New York City by 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and as mentioned, getting heavier after that. Low temperatures on Tuesday look like this. The coolest spots in the Rockies. The warm weather will be concentrated into the southeastern part of the country. As we go through time, much of the southeast starts to cool down on Wednesday and Thursday especially. And as we go through Friday and Saturday, much of the country under a chill as we go into the last week of fall. Wednesday, some heavy snows in the northeast continuing. And then we're watching a low pressure area along the Gulf of Mexico, which could spread some interesting weather. I guess that's the best way to put it. Interesting weather into the southeast by Friday and Saturday.
Very interesting. And also we have reports of 6 to 10 inches of rain over a large part of Mobile County in Alabama. We'll have more in just a moment.
Work.